So you're starting a business. It can be rewarding and really exciting. But at some point you're going to be asked to write a business plan, and for good reason. So here are my 3 tips that I hope help you along the process of writing a business plan. The first is, don't write a business plan. And by that I mean, don't write a business plan first. And don't make the business about writing the business plan. I want you to back up. So many people do better when they consider the overall process of value creation that they're going through. Now don't get me wrong, a business plan is important. You're going to need it. In fact, it's very helpful for focusing, getting your thoughts on paper, and getting down to what it is you're really talking about. It's also helpful if you're trying to raise money, of course, either through equity or through loans. Taking a business plan to the bank is one of the most common first steps for a business. And it's also important if you're trying to build a business case to get a partner on side. You need the contents of the business plan to make that happen. But so many people lock themselves into a room with the internet once they have an idea, and they just start writing. And that isn't the way to do it. Downloading a template, filling in the blanks is not the way to go. Think of it more as dynamically developing a business model, being out there, talking to people who are involved in the business, from customers to suppliers and other people in the value chain, other stakeholders, people who care, and making that business go. And that at any point in time, you could sit down and write a business plan from what you have. Perhaps think of it as a business model that you're developing, that at any time you can take a snapshot and have a business plan. So my first tip is, don't write a business plan at least first, and not unless it's part of a broader process of you seeking out how to create that value. My second tip is to go back to basics on the idea. And perhaps the best way to explain this is, if I ask you to imagine going into different companies, even ones that you really like, have a lot of respect for, and asking 5 simple questions. Who are you? What are you offering? Who are you offering it to? Why do they care? And sometimes it matters, do you have any core underlying critical technology, differentiating technology? Now ask those 5 questions of 5 different people in a company, and very often, way too often, you get 5 different answers. So my second piece of advice is go back to basics on the idea. And the elements of an idea are those. Who are you? In other words, your team. What are you offering? In other words, what's your product, service, or experience? Who are you offering it to? Who's your customer? Or your partner that you're aiming to target here? And why do they care? In other words, what's the value proposition? And as I mentioned, sometimes there is a piece about, is there any underlying core technology? But make sure you've got those nailed. And make sure, no matter who you run it by, everybody believes that those make up an idea that is feasible for your team to pull off, and highly impactful for the group that you're trying to have impact on. So that's my second, is go back to basics on the idea. Always make sure you're at understanding and have your finger on the basics about the idea you're developing, because it'll change over time too. And the third tip that I have for you about business planning is to know your financials. Inside and out, at any point in time, whether you're predicting or looking back, know your financials. From your income and revenue models to your predicted or pro forma statements, make sure you're on top of those. So those are my 3 tips. I hope they're helpful. Thanks very much.